Hello everyone, welcome to Adventures in Good Health, Doc's Herbal Corner. I am your host and aspiring herb geek, David Maloof. This podcast is sponsored by Dr. Tates, Herbal Tinctures and Tonics. Be sure to stay at the end of the podcast for more information. Let's get started. Today, I am joined by naturalist, master herbalist, nutritionist, detox specialist, lifestyle consultant, author, and diplomat of integrated medicine with over 50 years of herbal medicine experience, Dr. Stephen Tates, a man who knows his herbs. Let's jump right in. Okay, Dr. Tates, thank you very much for joining us in today's session of Doc's Herbal Corner.
Thank you for having me.
So, Doc, which herb are we talking about today?
Saw Palmetto berries.
Okay, Saw Palmetto berries.
Now, for those who are listening and want to write down some notes, I'm going to spell it for you just because it's like this Bostonian accent. I can't understand what he's saying.
All right, here we go.
Saw is S-A-W.
S-A-W.
Palmetto is P-A-L-M-E-T-T-O. Saw palmetto comes in berry form, where the strongest part of the plant is the berry. Because when you have plants, the berries are the strongest, some the roots are the strongest, some of the barks is the strongest, some of them the flower is the strongest. Saw palmetto is strongest in its berry form. But don't think of berries like strawberries or blueberries or anything like that. The saw palmetto berries are as hard as any root. Okay, so
all right, so it's not a nice, succulent, juicy berry.
You chew or you'll break your teeth,
Oh, okay.
So, no. It is hard, just like a root. People sometimes have said to me, this is not a berry. Well, yeah, you mean this was what grew on the plant? Yeah, it is. It didn't grow on the ground. It's all palmetto berries, okay? And shaped like a berry, which is why I get that nickname as well. Now, there's two forms of the berries. There's the whole berry, and there's the cut and sifted, as they call it, berry. And if you're getting the saw palmetto and you're thinking about using it, you want the cut and sift form. They're broken up some, those small, hard pieces. And because if you try to boil the whole berries, we can come back to this podcast, you're still boiling them. Still not going to get the property. So
all right.
You want to cut and sift it.
Cut and sifted.
Okay? Now, saw palmetto, it's become very popular because it helps with the prostate and erectile dysfunctions in the body. Okay? And you'll see it mixed with other herbal combinations to help with testosterone levels and erectile dysfunctions. It's a bitter herb. You find a theme that I tend to like bitter herbs.
I noticed that.
Because, that doesn't mean there's some flowers it doesn't kick butt. But, we want, the bitters because those are the ones that create the fastest healing, fastest response on the body. Okay? So saw palmetto berries, like everything else, is anti-inflammatory. It reduces inflammation. Your strongest herbs as a whole are anti-inflammatory. So many people who will be listening to a variety of the podcasts, they will say, why do you keep having this anti-inflammatory? Well, we don't want inflammatory because we don't want swelling. So very powerful for reducing inflammation. When inflammation is reduced throughout the body, especially in areas like the bladder and kidneys and the prostate, the blood flow is better through the prostate. When the blood flow is better, then the body can increase the blood circulation through that area, which will help with especially male performance levels because there's less blockage. The more blockages, the lower the testosterone. The lower the testosterone, the more erectile dysfunctions and prostate issues come, because with the inflammation, it causes swelling. which affects blood flow, which contributes to the ED, which then contributes to what's called prostatitis, which in simple English means the prostate is swollen. And then when it's not taken care of over time, PSA numbers go up, and prostate cancer starts to develop. Prostate cancer comes not just so much from food, but more because the blood flow through the prostate has been hampered and the inflammation is there. And that's what contributes to that breakdown. From inflammation comes prostatitis. Again, I'm repeating this. It contributes to the swelling. When the swelling stays there for a long period of time, fungus and bacteria builds because nothing's moving. Like stuff left in the refrigerator to rot, okay? Then the fungus and bacteria build, and many of your cancerous conditions is inflammation, fungus and bacteria, poor circulation. So you can see the process of how it starts to break things down. So it's very good for Saw Palmetto all by itself, and it can stand alone. It always works better.
It's one of those, it is a potential standalone drug. I'm not drug, oh my goodness. It is a potential standalone.
Ooh, we said drug.
Yeah, that's not.
Okay.
So it's a potential standalone herb.
Potential standalone, and it works good with other bitters as well. Okay, but it can stand alone by itself. It improves and strengthens the prostate health, because as we get older, the prostate starts to wrinkle up and get weaker and weaker, which means that it can't harness that testosterone level out of stuff that it's taking. So the Saw Palmetto strengthens the prostate area and increases the testosterone numbers all by itself. But then you add it with some bitters that help increase the circulation, which helps that, the blood flow, and you taking the Saw Palmetto. The Saw Palmetto can work better because it has less blockages, so the properties from the Saw Palmetto absorbs into the urinary tract system and then into the prostate, which improves the prostate health. The stronger the prostate is, the stronger, the more the testosterone levels will build in the body.
So someone wants to add Saw palmetto berries to their daily regimen. They could go to an herbal store. Are they just dehydrated, shredded up berries? Is that,
No, it just comes in a hard berry form.
Berry form.
Little tiny rocks. But you want not the little tiny rocks, because you can boil them forever. You want them cut and sifted, or cut
and
up.
sifted. That was that term you used earlier.
Yeah. So
now, you've got Saw Palmetto berries in your Dr. Tates
male tonic. Yeah. But see, I've got that combined with the burdock, which we've covered before, the gentian, which we've covered before, and that between the burdock, gentian, Saw Palmetto, and then the gold cola, which we covered,
Right.
That's a powerful mixture. That's a powerful mixture that's each one does similar but separate things can combine together. It's a powerful formula. That helps with the building of the prostate, building of the testosterone, reducing the inflammation, which gives the body a chance to strengthen. Now, why is this important? It's not just important for sexual performance. The prostate, just like the liver, has to do with our immune system. The weaker the prostate, the lower the testosterone level, the weaker our body as men get. And so it's not just about performance, it's about our short and long-term health. So this becomes extremely important.
And it's what in my research that I've done is what was traditionally seen as a condition or a problem for older men is becoming more common with younger men.
Well, it has become more epidemic.
So I may be understating it.
Oh, you're really understating it, because before when I was growing up, and I've been in this profession for over half a century. I like saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds better than 50 years. Half a century, which is still true. When I was growing up, these problems typically happen with men in their 60s. Now I'm seeing young men in their 30s with problems that we didn't see, decades ago until you reach your 60s. A lot of that is bad diet, lack of exercise, not enough water, not basically taking care of themselves. And there's more fast food and quick food places to eat and more people eating that way. When I was growing up, when dinner time came, you went and sat down and had dinner. You didn't call some places delivered food from any of the junk food places. You didn't have this kind of convenience, but that convenience is dangerous to our health because then you can order and have delivered whatever you want. And that's not a good thing because before you sat at home, dinner was prepared, food was prepared. Even if it was, animal products, there was always a lot of vegetables, a lot of rice, and a lot of grains and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was more balanced to help balance out some of the stuff that wasn't the best. But because our lifestyles have changed and we're into quick foods and stuff, the breakdown in our bodies become faster and at a younger and younger age.
It's interesting because on my Facebook feed, I will get advertisements for ED, treatments and things like that. And it's like they're almost always using a male model who appears to be in his mid to late 20s. And I just look at that, I was like, oh, please, come on. And we've talked about this before. You're saying there's a lot more reality to that. It's not just slick marketing.
No.
Although the product that they're selling may not even work. But the marketing...
Yeah. And they do male models, but if you notice, there's a lot more female models. You're talking about, prostate health and stuff. And you got some women sitting on the top of a car, or something else that I expect maybe in Playboy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, you want somebody like that? Well, you need to take our product. I mean, it's a subtle, scary kind of marketing.
And not so subtle.
Not so subtle. It's like, how is the whole commercial when they're talking about something that is supposed to help your prostate and your testosterone level, and the whole visual video is of this woman, sashaying around and stuff. It's like that's not so subtle, hit you in the head. If you want a woman like this again, you need to take our product. You need to take them now. Call 1-800 or 900. We'll ship it out to you right away. Guaranteed. Guaranteed to do what? Because they always tell you it's guaranteed. I heard one commercial one time. It says, if you're taking all this kind of stuff and it doesn't work, one visit to our office and you'll get immediate results. Now, what's scary is, what are you giving people, that has that immediate response? And then what are the potential side effects?
So Saw Palmetto berry, and you mentioned some of the other herbs. I think you mentioned ginseng.
Ginseng, yeah.
So for men's health, it's not about an elixir that is some sort of aphrodisiac or something like that. This is something that is about male health.
Yeah, male health.
That is part of a daily regimen.
Correct.
That has good long-term benefits to your health.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of different ways in one's life, from their quality of life to their actual health, that there is benefits to taking these herbs.
Yeah, because it's just like, and just staying with the Saw Palmetto and stuff, you want to rebuild or strengthen your health so that you're around and healthier for a longer period of time. It's not just about performance level. But then I'm going to flip the switch for a second, because the Saw Palmetto relieves symptoms of polycystic ovary syndrome.
Polycystic Ovaries.
Yeah. Growth on a woman's ovaries, the malfunction of their ovary system, and the fertility levels in their body, and can contribute to ovarian cancer in the system. So even though the popularity of Saw Palmetto tends to be about, this is for men only. No, you listen now, young women out there, older women, it can help you as well because it's reducing those tumors and growths, and blockages in your ovaries. Just like the Saw Palmetto will help in the circulation in the urinary tract flow. The Saw Palmetto will help with growths that are on your ovaries or building inside your ovary, which is like cysts and blockages, which then affects the circulation in your body.
That is very good to know.
Okay. Now, it's bitter.
You said it's bitter?
Yes, of course.
It is a bitter.
Yeah.
All right.
And interesting enough, Saw Palmetto, because the properties and the ingredients in it, especially the antioxidants and stuff, it tends to help prevent or slow down hair loss. I had some people that they were concerned about hair loss. And there's so many products on the market, especially for men, that it's about keeping you from losing your hair. But then the problem is the flip side of those things that help prevent hair loss contributes to prostate cancer. So Saw Palmetto can slow down your hair loss along with you eating right and getting the right vitamins and minerals and drinking your water and stuff. Standalone herb, yes, but not standalone program. So you got to add in those other things. You're dehydrated and nothing's going to work. Exercise, get the blood moving, nothing's going to work. So it's that combination, but it can stand alone, but also works better with other bitters. But we cover each one separately, and then at some point we can talk about some of the combinations of all of this that that you can blend to put together to make even a stronger formula. But I want to make sure that we separate these so that people can appreciate, a particular herb and what we call the personality of that herb or the signature of that herb. To talk about what it does, how it helps, what it can do for the body, all by itself. Then when you combine it, you're creating a stronger formula. But it's about all by itself first. And then you must boil, not steep. Okay? And the other thing it does is it lowers histamine symptoms, which sinus and other kind of clogging. Right. But that, again, is because of the circulation and the drainage of waste and stuff and the reducing of inflammation. But the histamine, that's a byproduct. That's like an extra. But Saw Palmetto is big as for helping with erectile dysfunction, fertility problems, and its testosterone level builds up in men. The sexual drive improves or the immune system. When a woman's ovaries are thrown off, then her sexual drive decreases, which her immune system decreases. So when you're doing bitters and stuff, and you're helping stuff move, then the body can help in its own healing a lot better.
Doc, are there any things that one would need to keep in mind in terms of
side effects,
yeah,
as usual,
interactions?
As usual, not taking when you're pregnant, not taking when you're breastfeeding. You got to watch it when you have chronic liver disease because the liver is really funny. Not funny, ha-ha,
right.
But, funny in how it reacts to certain things in the body. And then even though Saw Palmetto can be used by itself, blending it with others, other bitters, it becomes even more effective. Because sometimes some of these things can be unusually strong with people because the system is suffering with kidney issues or heart issues and stuff like that. And sometimes we don't know, because there's no listed potential side effects, for the kidneys or liver, but we're cautious in the proportions and other things people need to do in combination with the herbs that we talk about.
So, Doc, before someone would start taking Saw Palmetto, they should consult a naturopath or an herbalist, someone preferably local. If there isn't anyone local, or if they just choose to, they could reach out to you.
Absolutely.
And what is the best way to reach out to you? Best
way is to call me. And the two numbers that are best, one is 404-943-1171. That's a landline, so you cannot text me on that one. But you can on the second number I'm going to give you, which is 404-435-9336. And as always, I said, mention that you heard me on the podcast hosted by David the Wizard when it comes to interviewing and putting this stuff together. And then you get special consideration. And people sometimes say, well, why are you on the radio or doing podcasts? And you tell people that they get special consideration if they call and mention. I said, because if you're on there listening, that means you're concerned about some aspect of your health and trying to look for answers. It's not just curiosity. And I like talking to people that are not just curious, because curious takes up too much time. If you're not thinking about really making changes and you're just nosy and want to ask questions, that's wasting my time. So if you listen to the podcast, I know that you listened to it thoroughly, and now you're calling because you want to take it to that next step. Then we can do something together, because you're willing to take to the next step and start to make changes.
Fantastic. And for the audience to know, your contact information is located in the transcript as well as the podcast information in the podcast service and as well as YouTube.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Doc, for our most recent session with Doc's Herbal Corner.
All you for having me.
And now, a quick word about our sponsor, Dr. Tates Herbal Tinctures and Tonics. Dr. Tates all-natural herbal formulas, which are the true definition of herbal tonics, have been available for over 20 years. These specially formulated herbal tonics are designed to help cleanse, heal, rebuild, and revitalize your body, which will help improve your overall health. Dr. Tates offers the Herbal Blood Tonic, Doc's Detox, Herbal Fat Burner, Herbal Female Tonic, and Herbal Male Tonic. If you would like to learn more about the tonics and where to pick up your bottle, call 404-459-8696 or visit Dr. Tates at drtates.online. That's drtates.online. Or you can simply Google Dr. Tates Herbal Tinctures and Tonics, and you will find a great deal of information on the internet. That does it for this episode of Adventures in Good Health. And we would like to hear from you regarding this podcast and any suggestions you have for future podcasts. You can reach us at Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Please subscribe and leave a rating or a review. Until next week, this is David Malouf exploring natural approaches to good health.